Welcome to Dan's Talks. And my guest today on this podcast is Scott Howe, who's the director of what used to be known as ARF, or I guess like formerly known as Prince. And now it's what is it? Art Hampton? No.
ARF Hamptons.
Hampton.
Yeah. We have a long name, Animal Rescue Fund of the Hamptons. But
I see. Yeah.
But we're in the age of the internet. People find us by ARF Hamptons.
I see you have pictures on the walls there. I was wondering what. First of all, let me say about what ARF is for listeners
Sure.
who don't know. ARF is the Animal Rescue Fund of the Hamptons, which has been in business for 25 or 30 years, and they rescue dogs and cats. And over the years, I have gotten many dogs there, probably 5 that I've been going there since the 70s, I think, when it was founded.
Sure.
And they're doing renovations there now. So my first question is, and this is right out by the airport across from on Daniels Hole Road in East Hampton. And yeah, I presume the dogs are safe and sound. And tell us a little about where they are now.
Sure.
And what the facility will be like when it's finished and when.
Great. So you're right. ARF was founded in '74, and the volunteers raised the money to build on our current site in the '80s. And ARF's adoption center and shelter opened in around 1985. We started last August, so about a year and a half ago, and doing a complete renovation of our lobby, our offices, where our cats live. And with our kennel building, we started over and we raised that building and we built a brand new kennel building for all of our large dogs. And during this construction, we've still been rescuing and adopting, but on a smaller scale. So we have a 7,000 square foot medical building that was built around 2000. And we did some early mechanical upgrades to it over the last 5 years, getting it ready for this bigger project. So our dogs are living downstairs and our cats are living upstairs. And we're about keeping everyone separate and content. But so we're about half our normal capacity, maybe a little less than half.
What is the normal and what are you now?
So we'll be 150 cats and dogs, evenly split, 75 and 75. And
sounds like a fair fight.
It is. We try to keep it fair. And it all depends on size. And a litter of 9 puppies like we got over the weekend, that shoots our numbers up temporarily. But right now we're about 60 animals in the building, another 10 out on foster.
What's the typical length of time? I know it must vary a great deal. But
yeah. So puppies are here about 2 weeks, probably 2 to 3. Kittens live with a foster family until they're about weigh 2 pounds, and then we spay and neuter them, and they go up for adoption, and that once they've been spayed and neutered, they're here for about a week, or maybe 2. Adult dogs take a little longer. It's the animals that take the longest are the adult dogs that don't get along with other dogs. So
yeah.
Single dog house. We need a single dog household.
Yeah, I see. Well, at this time of the year, there's at least, I don't know if it's still the same, but they used to say that there were people who, when they would end their summer rental or whatever, they would leave their dogs to fend for themselves, and they'd have to be picked up.
That's the story from the 70s when ARF was founded, sure. And there are articles in the New York Times with headlines that say, why do people in the Hamptons leave their pets at the end of summer?
It was terrible time, I think.
Yeah.
Not the
And
case-
so,
not the case now.
that's why ARF was founded.
Yeah, I think so. And so how do people changed in how their behavior?
People have changed. You're right. And so that's what's allowed ARF to go and help other regions of the country where people haven't changed. And that's where, there are still local dogs that need us, strays that show up or are found in the town of East Hampton, and that happens in any community, but it's not like the 70s when there were unspayed, unneutered dogs at the town dump on Labor Day every year.
Oh, oh,
Our kittens are local though. That's just the nature of I think of it as one big colony of cats that lives from Montauk all the way to Southampton, and it's just a big there's another highway parallel to Montauk Highway for cats. So our
Well,
kittens are local.
There's feral cats that are in
Yeah.
the community.
So what we do, we find the kittens. The kittens are brought to us. We spay and neuter them, and then we go looking for the moms and for the toms. And ARF does free spay neuter for feral cats. And so that's how we try to control the local population. It would so whenever people bring us kittens, that's the first question we ask is like, have you seen the mom? Do you think you can trap her? Can we get her? And that's part of how we keep the local population under control, so there's not more kittens than we can adopt.
What describe the procedure of how someone who makes a decision that they want to have a dog, we'll say dog, in their homes, and they hear about ARF, and what do they do, and how does it go about, and describe the procedure?
I think the biggest change that's happened is a lot of people are looking online, and you can start on our website, arfhamptons.org, and fall in love and fill out an application right there. And then you can then come to ARF and actually meet the animal in person. Nothing's final until you're actually here in the flesh in person to meet the animal. And during construction, our adoption days, we worked it out with the general contractor. We do adoptions on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Let's see.
And they do all the heavy work on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They still work on Saturdays, but we park our adoption van in front and encourage adopters to come to the shelter and adopt on site.
Well, you said you're saying potential dog owners come to this adoption trailer? Is that the
Yeah, we have a mobile adoption van, and we can also, while the weather's still nice, people are we're bringing dogs out from the kennel, and people are going for walks and meeting the dogs here in person.
So you can go there and meet a lot of different dogs if you wanted to.
That's true. Yes.
Is there any particular story you could tell that might be an interesting encounter between somebody and a pet that might be good to tell at this moment? Can you think of anything?
Oh, it is. I think at this time of year, my heart always goes out to our longtime residents, and these are the cats and dogs who probably got surrendered to ARF for any number of reasons. Maybe the people lost their house and had to move from the area, and or they were originally adopted from ARF, and through no fault of their own, they ended up back here. Maybe it was someone who adopted a puppy and didn't really understand what life was like with a puppy for the first 2 years, and the dog ends up back here. So those are the animals right now that we're really pushing, because they get overlooked. Everyone loves the cute floppy ears and of a puppy, and but these adult dogs, they're they're the ones who are going to be who are really going to appreciate the life in a home and immediately bond to you. So that's all I'm thinking now. Those are the stories that I look for. When I see who got adopted for the weekends, I know the puppies are going to go and the kittens are going to go. But when we have an adult dog or a senior dog or cat that goes home, those are the ones we celebrate, because we know that somebody special has come along and opened up their homes to them.
What about naming dogs? Do dogs ever come with collars or something that tells you what their names are?
No, I mean, if they have been in a home, we keep the name that they've had if they're an adult. But you can tell when kittens come in and or puppies come in. We sometimes get creative, and we've had 7 kittens and we've had the 7 dwarfs. We've had the favorite puppies or cats that came in were found in Bridgehampton near the old racetrack, and so they all had names of exotic cars.
I see.
So sometimes there are, and inevitably, if a pair of kittens come in and they're both females, they're Thelma and Louise. There has to be at least one pair every year. So.
What's your history? Did you move here, or did you grow up out here?
No, I didn't. I was a transplant, and I found ARF kind of before they found me. I adopted my dog in 2014 from ARF, cattle dog, who is from Texas, where I was originally from. So I like to say we're both rescues from Texas. And Stritch, her name is Stritch. We named her after Elaine Stritch, and in honor of, I should say, and because she's got a brassy voice. And Stritch, we pulled out the adoption contract to see if we were going to return her or not, because we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into with the puppy. But ARF saved us and saved her. We did 3 months of training and obedience training here with Stritch, and she's the love of our lives. But about 2 years after that, I got a call from a headhunter saying that ARF was looking for a new director, and did I know anybody? And at the time, I was working at the Parrish Art Museum, and I said, "Well, I might know somebody. Let's find out more." But I thought about my own experience with Stritch and how much she had changed our lives and how happy I was, and I was grateful to ARF and what they did, and I'd learned a lot about where she had come from and those circumstances and why and where ARF rescues. So I came to ARF in 2016.
Oh, and you've been here since?
Yes.
You go home at night?
I do. They do let me go home at night.
There has been a lifeline, a very strange lifeline to Rincon, Puerto Rico. I wonder if it's still going.
It does. Some of the people, the rescuers may change over time, but there's still a strong connection with Rincon. In fact, we brought in puppies from Rincon. I want to say it was October, after the last hurricane went through and they were without power, and the volunteers, we met them at JFK. They couldn't get them on an American flight as cargo, and finally the rescuer was desperate and had a friend at JetBlue, and they bought 2 round-trip tickets, and the puppies were so small, they one took 4 and one took 3,
Wow.
in a carry-on bag. And we met them at the airport, and they turned around and flew back to Rincon, and we brought the puppies to East Hampton, and they were gone in a week.
Well, so isn't it true that some surfers will pick up the dogs and
Yeah, that's how a lot of the Caribbean islands. It can be really difficult to get dogs off, to get regular flights and get them to New York. And so a lot of people, when they go down on vacation, they will fall in love, and that's actually a really wonderful way to help those rescuers on the islands, not just in Puerto Rico, get animals back to the States.
yeah, and some of them come back pretty sick or in need of reparations and stuff.
Yeah, so we've learned a lot about rescue, and there's a whole branch of veterinary medicine that deals with this shelter medicine, because we see things that coming in that most people don't see or experience with their own pets for good reason. So we try to do all the vaccinating, at least the first round of vaccines, before the animals get here. And then we have a special quarantine space at ARF for that. So, we don't want to put anyone's animals at risk, and we want to make sure all our animals go home healthy. So, a lot of the precautions happen before the animals ever get on a plane.
And then when they're here, sometimes they're kept for a week or so.
At least a week, sometimes longer, depending on what we find. So their medical history starts over when they land here, and we test for parasites, heartworm, upper respiratory illnesses, all the things, leptospirosis, all the things that we know are endemic to the islands. Or even it could be from the animals we get from South Carolina, or most recently New Mexico. We do our best to check for all of those things, and we treat them before they're made available for adoption. So that's why sometimes there's a lag. You may see on social media that ARF just got these wonderful puppies from New Mexico, and then you don't see them available for adoption. And that's because we're making sure they're healthy before they're released.
I see.
Yeah.
What's the facility going? When is it going to be completed? Renovation?
So this winter. How's that for specific and vague? We're February, March. We're looking at. We're very close. We're talking at a construction meeting today about pouring sidewalks next week. So I'm just hoping for weather that stays above freezing for sidewalks and asphalt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're like anybody else building out here, but it's down to the finish work inside the kennels. We have the glass coming for the doors next week. In December they'll be putting on the finished paint coat. We're gonna reopen softly this winter, and then by Memorial Day weekend we'll have a big celebration. We will have worked through all the kinks.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah, it'll be great. But we're gonna quietly move in this winter.
I see. Have you? I'm just curious about, since you're so near the airport, has that been a problem in any way with the?
The dogs don't mind, and the pilots don't mind our dogs barking. So I think we have a good we have a good relationship, and there's actually a wonderful group of volunteer pilots who over the last couple of years have stepped in to help shelters that are beyond our reach. So we've had volunteer pilots fly from Georgia, fly to New Mexico and back most recently, bringing small transports of dogs, from shelters who need partners like ARF. But the trip is just too long for us to drive, and too long for the animals to drive safely back here.
Yeah, I see. Will you have a room for more dogs than you have now when you reopen?
You know, so we'll have more room than we have now, but we won't have more room than we had before we started. So the goal was not to increase our capacity, but to make it better. So for the animals and for the staff and for the adopters. So the spaces for the dogs will be quieter. They'll have air conditioning for the first time in 40 years. They'll have adequate heat. And then, we've made a lot of improvements in the air quality for animals in the shelter, including fresh air circulating into the air conditioning and heating, and then UV filtration. And now, since the pandemic, we know that that's going to be healthier for people too. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Well, I've been talking to Scott Howe, the director of the Animal Rescue Fund of the Hamptons Animal Rescue Fund of the Hamptons. And I thank you for being on the podcast, and I look forward to the spring when you have your big grand opening. I'll be there.
Great. We look forward to seeing you then. Thanks for having me today, Dan.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.